Hello everybody, how are you here on a beautiful sunny Pittsburgh afternoon? Thursday, weekend's almost here. Everybody's getting ready to have fun. You can feel that the wind is blowing, the leaves on the ground. It's just that first little edge of autumn is in the air. It's windy. And I haven't never been here before in the autumn, in the fall. But with all the trees in Pittsburgh, I mean, it's wild. And this video is going to focus on another community in this great area, and this is going to be Beechview. Beechview is on the south side of town, across the river. And Beechview has a interesting history because it was originally the site. See, manufacturing is a big part of the history of Pittsburgh from the very, very beginning. It's weird. It's weird. I'm not kidding you. In the very beginning, they started making glass. It was one of the original things they manufactured in the Pittsburgh, in the the confluence there, the confluence of the river, in the Pittsburgh area, and Beechview is on the south side of the river, and that area was developed later. Mostly the original part of Pittsburgh is on the inside of the Y of the Three Rivers, right where the Three River Stadium used to be. That's where the fort was. That's where the original peoples were. The original peoples. So Beechview came later, and Beechview developed around its manufacturing base of gum. That's right. It started out making industrial gums for industry and business. They're used for a wide variety of things, but Beechview as the famous gum company today. Because they evolved from using gums in industrial settings to creating a consumer gum that was popular worldwide. And Pittsburgh's Beechview area is where it all started. In fact, they named the town after the original plant. And so that means that Pittsburgh was one of the original test markets for a consumer food product. Because they would ask the residents, can you try this gum? And they put them in the barbershops, in the little restaurants, everywhere people went, they put the samples, and you could get it. That was one of the great things about living in Pittsburgh. You could get free samples of gum everywhere you went. I mean, some of these young kids, they'd have 50, 60 packs of gum at all times. There was a story of one kid. He put the packs of gum in his shoes because he didn't have any. He was getting holes in his feet, and he used the gum as sort of a patch, and it kept him warm during the cold Pittsburgh winters. I mean, it's a kind of an interesting it's an interesting human interest story. What did you just say? So, to this day, Beechview now, of course, the company has grown, and they've got all kinds of research facilities and factories and offices all over the world. But the heart and soul of Beechview gum is right here in Pittsburgh, in the community of Beechview. Now it's on the bank, so remember the south side there gets very steep. There's the riverbed, of course, where the railroads are and the roads. But then you better have a four-wheel drive vehicle to go up the side of the bank, and that's where Beechview is located, up the side of the bank. And what that means is it gave a lot of local aficionados of kite flying, hang gliding, and parasailing the chance to blow bubbles with Beechview gum and float out over the city. So in the early days, like 1920, 1925, you'd see people floating over the city with a big bubble they blew from Beechview gum, and it's in their mouth. Just like you would blow a bubble, they would blow a giant one, and they'd start to float, and they were hanging from their teeth. Unbelievable. I mean, you see these old pictures of people hanging from their giant Beechview gum bubble gum balloon, really. And on certain holidays, when the wind would catch up and people didn't have to work, and the wind would kick up, you'd see 4,000, 5,000 people floating over Pittsburgh, just using their Beechview gum. And people today say, well, how is that possible, even if they were able to blow a bubble that big? And the answer is the company had a background in industrial uses of the gum. So all they did was apply that knowledge to their consumer product, and people were able to blow bubbles that could hold the weight of a human. Then some people would take, some little people, some smaller people, let's say kids or younger adults or smaller adults, they'd carry another one with them. They'd carry another, like a piggyback. They'd get their little brother on there laughing the whole time, and they'd be 4,000 or 5,000 feet above the earth, and they're just having a good all the time. Now, of course, you don't want to poke the bubble, right? You don't want birds flying into it. You don't want that kind of thing. And there was a couple people that, unfortunately, an eagle flew into one guy, a blue heron hit another bubble, and they went cascading down. Fortunately, this is a place with lots of water. Not only do they have 3 rivers, they've got lots of little tributaries, and anyway, they hit the water, and those guys were okay. But what a fact, again, I just can't, it's unbelievable, all the fascinating stories of this community. And Pittsburgh reveals itself like a book. Every page you turn, there's a new, exciting adventure. And the history of Beechview gum and people floating over the city in the early days, the early part of the 1900s, is, again, now I don't know. I'm not from this area. I got this information from a guy that was at the auto parts store, right? I was buying a hold down for my battery, and they were looking at getting a muffler replacement, and we just started chatting, and he told me about this story of the community of Beechview. So if you have more information on that, let us know. Get me on the Twitter machine, get me on the Googler or whatever, contact me. But that's it for this one, guys. This has been another Joe Ditzel parody. Come back for more.